Good morning. So, this is something I've been working on in the last week, and I feel like it is time to discuss it. Okay, so most of my adult life and every single one of my significant relationships, I have been the provider. I have made sure the bills were paid, I have provided insurance, I've gotten all the loans. Um, I have always been the um, financial provider. And do not get me wrong, this is not a problem. Um, I felt like it was my responsibility. Um, and I get that from my father. And so I have been working on being in receiving mode. Okay. So um, we are all balanced with masculine and feminine energy. And I have spent all of my adult life in the yang energy, very action based, go, do. And now I am embodying the Empress and I am learning how to receive. Okay, this has been very difficult for me because I always felt like if I sit back and receive, then I will be seen as such and such. Okay. And so this week, I opened myself up to um, embody the yen energy. I have been opening my heart in my meditations and asking to receive. In this moment, I am receiving love from the divine. And like I said the other day, so that I can, from the overflow, give. And it has been interesting to say the least. Okay. The sitting in the receiving can feel uncomfortable for someone who has been a giver their entire life. And this doesn't necessarily have to be just for a divine feminine who is feeling the need to open up that yin energy. This is also for the divine masculine because if you look at the yin and yang, you have the balance between the two. There is a little bit of white in the dark, and there is a little bit of dark in the light, right? And so this is important for both the masculine and feminine energies to find that balance, to open yourself up to receive. And this is not necessarily just receiving abundance. It could be receiving love, receiving information, because, we don't know everything, right? And when we open ourselves up to receive information, this is where we learn how to grow. And this is something that has been amazing because the things that I have unlocked in this last week have opened my eyes so much. And so when we allow ourselves to be that vessel and make sure that you are grounding yourself when you're doing this, because the inflow can be disorienting if you are not used to it. Um, when I do these messages, I sit before I turn on the camera and I ask to be the vessel, to channel what it is that the divine needs for the collective to hear. And so I open myself up to receive. And the more that I am working on the receiving, 444, the more I am able to understand. And I'll be honest, like when I was doing this, I had to deprogram my mind. And there was a lot of things that I didn't even realize that my mind was programmed to. So, and I'm going to talk about scripture for a second. So hold on and don't walk away because of that. It's specifically about um, the giving. Okay. Paul in the Bible talks about how we are to be doers. Now, I want to state this. Okay. Yes, we should do, but from the overflow. Okay. So we don't do to receive, we receive to do. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So when we are stewards, for example, we cannot give from an empty bank account, right? You have to receive that money in order to be that steward. So we have to receive prior to doing. If you go out there and you just do, are you really doing altruistically? Or are you doing in order to receive recognition or receive blessings or whatever it may be? Okay, it should be the other way around. We are called to be like God. God gives because God has, not God gives in order to have, right? So we are called to be, just be. We, yes, have to have money in order to survive. That's the world we live in right now. But if we work our entire lives in order to receive the money or the recognition or the success or whatever it is you're working for, especially now where we've normalized the side hustle and we're working, 70, 80 hours a week, this is taking away from our time to just be. And I spoke yesterday about self-care and engaging with yourself in that self-care. So I was talking to my friend this morning, and I told her while she is in her prayer or in her meditation to open herself up for 5 minutes of that time to just receive. And it could be a message of encouragement. It could be receiving abundance in the way of remembering exactly what you are grateful for in your life, or receiving a message like a synchronicity, like a butterfly flying by to remind you that we are all caterpillars at one point, and eventually we will emerge and fly. So this is not necessarily a I'll state this, okay? So I heard this message the other day that said, there is the possibility of being able to have exactly what we want in our lives. It's only a matter of knowing how to receive it. So we may not even realize that we are closing ourselves off to better opportunities because we are so driven and focused on receiving that paycheck or that recognition or that title that we completely and totally don't see the signs around us saying, well, there's a better way. That's why we have to be in that receiving mode. That's why we have to open ourselves up to understanding what it is that we are meant to receive. I hope this helps, guys. I hope this helps, guys. Have a great day.